Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to the Photobooth Supply Co YouTube channel. My name's Cameron from the Photobooth Supply Co Success team, and I'm here with a different face this week. It's not Kat. I'm not alone. I'm with Charlie from the Proper Booth, and she is also part of our Photobooth Supply Co Success team as well. How's it going, Charlie?
I'm good. How are
I'm
you?
doing really, really well. So, if you guys haven't had an opportunity to meet Charlie, she runs an awesome photo booth business, but like I said, she's also now part of the Photo Booth Supply Co team. She's been handling all of the onboarding. So if anybody has gotten a Salsa recently or has started using the Salsa software recently, you've probably met Charlie. And that's why she's here today. We're actually going to be going into a little bit of detail about how you can make the most of your 30-day free trial with Salsa. So first off, if you don't know what Salsa is or you haven't signed up for it yet, Salsa is a photo booth app for your iPad. And you get a 30-day free trial when you sign up. So whether you already own a photo booth or you're just thinking about getting into the industry, definitely make sure you sign up. It's completely free. And you get a full walkthrough when you sign up too that explains everything to you and helps you out. And if you still need an extra little bit of explanation at the end, that's why Charlie's here. She's ready to help you out and walk through things with you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually share my screen so that everybody can see what we're looking at. And then Charlie, I'm just kind of going to leave it to you, and we're going to go over what you think is what are the most important things that you should definitely be taking full advantage of during your 30-day free trial. So Charlie, it's all you.
Thanks, Cameron. Okay, yeah. I obviously run my own photo booth company as well, and I absolutely love salsa. Um, and if you're not making the most of your free trial, then this is the video for you. So with salsa, we obviously get some amazing educational materials, and that's the first thing that I'm going to talk about because anyone that signs up to the salsa software gets access to our incredible Photo Booth Academy. And trust me, there is just so much content on there. There's tons
Mm-hmm.
and tons and tons. And it doesn't matter if you've been in the photo booth game for years or minutes. It honestly is something for everyone. I learned so much just from going through those videos. It's just incredible. So, and there's so many on there, like
Mm-hmm.
just huge amount. So, and everything from pricing to how to book certain types of clients to book, as well as like accounting and how to do your web. It's worth when you have your free trial, get onto the academy and start going through those videos. That
Mm-hmm.
is exactly what I did first off.
And they're
And
good too. And I'm sorry to cut you off. I mean, they're
then,
great videos. And you made a good point, just like what Charlie said. Even if you're brand new, just watch from the beginning. We literally go, to the very basics. How should you build your brand? How should you create your logo? That sort of thing. But on the flip side, if you are more experienced and maybe you already have an established company and you just want to get more information on accounting or insurance, I call them the not so fun parts of owning a business, but the very necessary parts of owning a business, right?
we all have to do admin, right? We all have.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's all here too. So yeah, it's a really great resource. I can't stress it enough. And you'll just want to make sure that you're on the Salsa web app, click on Academy like you see on my screen, and you can go through and watch all of these videos. So you'll have access to all of these as well.
Yeah, and also the added bonus of your free trial, if you are also a Salsa booth owner, is
Hmm.
that you have access to all the lovely marketing materials as well. So there is a heap of stuff on there, and a good time to start really marketing your booth is even before your booth has arrived. So
Yeah.
the marketing materials have got some amazing photos on there, which cover kind of all kinds of setups. There's also a really awesome pricing table in there. So if you're stuck on how to price your booth, not only can you watch the Academy video, but you can also check out the pricing table as well and see how that all works together. So again, another amazing resource if you are a salsa booth owner, because there's just full of loveliness in there. I can't even tell you, it's just brilliant.
Yeah, no,
Um,
it's lots of good information. And as always, too, I didn't really say this in the beginning, but if anybody has any questions as we're going through this stuff, feel free to throw it in the chat. Also, let us know where you're watching from. We always like to kind of see who's hanging out with us and watching the live. Feel free to throw your Instagram into the chat too, so you guys can follow each other. We can check you out and see how you guys are using a lot of these marketing materials too. So.
yeah, and if we were to go back into like the So we're looking at Salsa on the web app here. So one thing I actually want to note is that when you first try out Salsa, not only can you access it on your iPad, but you do have access on a desktop or a laptop as well. Yep. And this is where I make all of my Salsa events, is using this desktop app, which is what Cameron's showing you right now. But it does mean that you can kind of play around with a few things a lot easier than you would do if you were doing it straight from the iPad. So I want to head over to Portfolio, actually. There's one thing I want to go through first, because it's a really awesome feature of Salsa that I don't think a lot of people realize is necessarily there or how they can use it. But it is an incredible feature. And if you are looking at a way to maybe showcase some events in Salsa and you don't necessarily have a website yet, then this is actually a really good starting point for you. So the Portfolio is accessed in the Manage Account section of Salsa. And you can brand it to your business. You can add your personal information. You can showcase some of the sample events that are included in Salsa as well, which is a really awesome idea. So if you haven't actually done any events yet, there are a few sample events in Salsa that you can highlight and include in your portfolio as well. And it actually has its own URL. So you can embed this into a website. So if you have a website just up and running, but no galleries as to speak of yet, then you can use a portfolio to include this into your website, and you have already a built gallery ready to go with some sample events in there already for everyone to look at. So it's the one I've done for my website. I mean, you can see how I've branded it. I've used a really beautiful image at the top. You can add any image that you want to add. And I've actually kept in some of those sample events from Salsa as well. So you can also use a subdomain too. So you can brand the subdomain for the gallery too, this portfolio, so it doesn't look out of place on your website. So you can really, really make it your own. And if, like I said, if you're just starting out, it's a really good way of showcasing what Salsa can do without having done any work yet whatsoever.
Yeah, no, for sure. And if you're watching me go through everything, I've clicked on a couple of them so you guys can see it. You also have that contact tab, which has all of your contact information, which is great. Obviously, I accidentally clicked on your website, Charlie. So, hey, say hi to your website. But then if we go back to, I know that Charlie's video is down here in the lower left-hand corner, so you might not be able to see it. But in that left-hand corner behind Charlie, there's actually that Manage Account button that she was talking about. So when you're looking at the Salsa web app, you would just click on Manage Account. Again, it's right behind where Charlie's video is, and then that's where you would find all of these features, and you can really go in depth with a lot of this customization. So
yeah, it is awesome. It's a really awesome feature. I love it. But the new feature of Salsa, which is not actually that new now, but it still feels really new, and it feels so amazing still, is the proposals in Salsa. So I know that you did an amazing video last week, Cameron, about proposals and how to set one up for the 4th of July, which was incredible. But I actually want to talk about how you can use proposals without actually having an event booked, if that makes sense. So one of the things that you can do when you have your free trial is you can set up events in Salsa. You have unlimited events in Salsa. You don't have to worry about making too many, and you don't have to worry about deleting them either. So you can set up some kind of generic events within Salsa. So you could have like a holidays one, you could have a weddings one, you could even go as far as like Halloween or New Year, or just a generic summer one. And what you do is you don't build out necessarily the entire event, but what you do is you build out enough to create that portfolio. So you don't have to worry about uber personalization. You just need to make it look relevant for that type of event. And the reason why it's awesome to do this is because if you do have a lead that comes in, say someone who is really keen to book a holiday party. I mean, holiday parties, they start booking from about now anyway, so it's a really good chance to start doing that. If they want to come and book a holiday party and you already have a proposal set up showing the kind of thing that you could offer to a client, it makes that process a lot easier and the impact quite impressive, because you're already set up. You can showcase how your booth is going to look at that event, the type of templates they can use, maybe the backdrop that you want to use, and you can play around with that, and you can just create different types of proposals for different types of events. It's awesome. I absolutely love it. And I will actually tell you today. So I set up a beauty booth proposal. So anyone who wanted to inquire about a beauty booth with me, I set up a beauty booth event in Salsa, and I had the corresponding proposal. So I basically created the tap to start screens. I created the overlays, and I kind of set up what the email may look like and the text messaging, and a virtual booth option as well. And I had a client actually today who contacted me and wanted a beauty booth, and I had this all set up and ready to go. And I sent them the proposal, and they booked within 2 hours.
That's nuts.
Of looking at the proposal.
That's so
It
good.
was so good. I can't even tell you. And it was all because of the proposal. They were like, "This is amazing. This proposal is incredible." And yeah, they just absolutely loved it and went for it. So it works. I can honestly tell you that it works. And the free trial, you have that 30 days to experiment with these proposals and use them to book those leads. Because once you've got those leads in, you're good to go. You know it works.
Right. And again, too, kind of like what Charlie's saying is, you know, these don't have to be hyper customized to one specific client, right? Obviously, if you have a client who's maybe a warmer lead or somebody who's definitely interested, they've kind of told you all about their event, obviously you can make this as custom as you'd like for them. But when you go through and you have something like this, like a generic holiday one, people can kind of start to envision their own event in this, right? And you can tell people too, look, I'm going to send you over a proposal. It's just kind of what I've set up for your holiday party, but every part of it can be changed and every part of it can be customized, you know? So when you look at that tap to start screen, don't worry, we can make that all about you if you want it to be. The backdrop, that's something we can customize as well. The overlays, the photo templates, all that stuff. So it really makes it, again, like you said, really easy to show a lot of this stuff off. And it doesn't take a long time to do it. Once you've done one or two proposals, I mean, you can do them pretty quick. Just kind of out of curiosity, Charlie, how long did it take you to put together some of these proposals?
So this holiday proposal I did within about 20 minutes, if that.
Yeah. And something
so
you can reuse too. So 20 minutes, but you can use it for 20 clients if you wanted to.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And all the materials that I use pretty much. So the overlays and the templates that holiday, all from the marketing materials that are available to us with Salsa. So I didn't even have to design up anything. I didn't have to change anything because again, it's not highly personalized to a certain client. It's more generic. So I didn't have to worry about changing names or anything on the overlays. It just pulled it from the file, uploaded it into Salsa, and then you're good to go.
That's great. And I was showing off the holiday one, but now, you know, Charlie, as you kind of keep going and telling us more, I'm just going to pull up so you guys can see the wedding one. It's a very similar concept where everything is just kind of generic, right? You could use this for anybody who comes to you and says, look, I'm looking at possibly booking my wedding with you. You could send this over and say, this is kind of what you can expect from us. Obviously, again, every part of it can be completely customized for you, but I just wanted you to get a really good idea of what it is. And again, Charlie, you just had that one client who booked with you, just after seeing the proposal, which is incredible. And it really is that easy to do this sort of thing. So if you have a couple of clients, or maybe you've had some clients from last year who aren't 100% sure, just send this out to them. If you know what kind of event at the very least they were looking for, send it over to them. Say, hey, I'm just checking in. I'm seeing how things are going. Obviously, over the last year, a ton of things have changed. I just wanted to send you an up-to-date proposal so you can see everything the booth can do. And you might even win back some of those people that you lost previously. Or if you're starting out and you're brand new, you might easily win a couple of your first clients this way. So
yeah, and like as we said, like event proposals run on their own URLs. So
yeah.
You can just go through, if you're new to Salsa, you maybe have a Salsa booth added to your lineup of booths, then why not go through your past client list from the holiday parties that you couldn't book last year, or the ones that you booked the year before that, and email them out the proposal and say, look, guys, this is what we can do now. You can either have this on for your holiday party. I mean, it's as simple as that, is adding a URL to an email.
Yeah. And the great thing about the proposals too, and I know we keep talking about how great they are, but it really, my favorite part about them is that it really shows off what these features are, right? Because if you say, oh, we can do boomerangs, yeah, most people are going to know what a boomerang is and what that actually entails, right? But you have people who you say it can do boomerangs, and they're like, what's a boomerang? You know, they think of an actual boomerang. So if you send them this proposal, they're able to see, okay, boomerangs, it explains what it does, it explains what it is, and then there's even a sample to the right of it, so they can really get an idea of, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. You know, I've seen that before. I would love to have that. And maybe they didn't even know that you could do it, even though it might have been something you brought up. So,
yeah. And the other thing that proposal shows off, of course, is the virtual booth.
yes.
So that is, you know, something that obviously kind of came into its own last year with the pandemic. But when you're having a free trial, one of the things that I did actually, I did this actually in the, well, we've still got quite a lot of restrictions here in the UK. So I know it's very different in the States, but we're still kind of not at full capacity for events yet. So virtual booth is still a kind of a thing, but we are kind of changing the way that we are kind of pitching this to our clients. So we are using virtual booth more like a virtual guest book now, because obviously people are still not going to be able to make events regardless if things are opened up or not. Or maybe have it as a tabletop feature at a wedding. But the cool thing about virtual booth is if you have time to set it up, or you have the time during your free trial to set up a virtual booth, and this could be a booth that you've set up to be part of the generic wedding proposal, for example.
Kind of like what you have here too.
Yeah, exactly like we have there. But you could embed that into your website. So you could have a blog post perhaps on how you can use virtual booth or pitch it as a product, as a virtual guest book, and have it as a feature on your website. It doesn't take long to do. Once you've built the event, you can have a virtual booth almost instantly and have it for people to try and demo on your website.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that is one thing I love to do. And the other cool thing I love to do with virtual booths, and it's something that I've really enjoyed watching people use, is so when I book a wedding client now, I send them the link to a virtual booth that I have created as a kind of congratulations for booking with us. Let's celebrate. Why not take a picture in our virtual booth so you can celebrate, you know, your forthcoming wedding and get to know us as a company. So we have a virtual booth set up just for the clients who are booking with us, so that they can go and take a photo and get really excited about the photo booth experience for their wedding. Yeah. And the template says something like, let's I do this thing, or something fun like that.
I love that.
And it's super fun. And you just get all these gorgeous pictures of the people who you have booked with. Because sometimes you don't even see them before they booked with you. Yeah. They're just these kind of empty voices on the end of the phone or a faceless email. So it actually not only does it make you connect with them a bit more, but it also you can actually, you know who they are when you go to the event. So it's quite helpful.
No, and it gets people excited too, I can imagine, because I mean, again, and we've talked about this in other live streams that we've done, but what you can do in the virtual booth is pretty much what you can do in the normal photo booth, right? And there are some differences, don't get me wrong, but by and large, they're pretty similar. So you kind of give people that excitement right away, like, hey, you know, this is kind of what the experience is going to be like, except we're going to actually have the physical booth or whatever the case might be. So I think that's a great idea. And that's one that we haven't talked about before, but I know I'm going to be talking about it in future live streams for sure. So.
Yeah, it's a good way to use virtual booth. I mean, virtual booth, I feel almost sorry for it, because I think now people are like, oh, we don't need virtual booth anymore because we're doing events. But no, you can really use it still. And I know you guys did a video a few weeks ago about how you can use virtual booth for in-person events. Yeah. So, you know, virtual booth could be a whole separate package all on its own, and you can showcase that package off on your website immediately, creating a demo, and you can do that when you have a free trial because it's there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's also a really great point. I'm glad you brought that up. If you haven't checked out that video yet, and maybe you're not 100% how you can actually use a virtual booth for in-person events, it's a live stream we did, I think, only a couple weeks ago. So you should be able to find it really easily on our YouTube channel. And it's, I mean, just because it's virtual and it has virtual in the name, you don't have to call it that. You can call it whatever you want, and you can really use that virtual booth to create an entirely different experience, right? Maybe your client doesn't want to spend a ton of money, but they want to have a photo booth. Well, this might be an alternative way for you to still be there, maybe offer something a little bit cheaper because there's no actual hardware setup, but you're still getting your name out there. People are still having fun with the booth. They're still making memories, most importantly. And maybe for their next event, they'll be like, okay, we had so much fun with this virtual booth. Let's do the real thing this time. So it's a great option. And if you don't have a second booth yet and you're just getting started, this is also another really awesome way that you can double book yourself on certain popular dates, right? 4th of July, for example, it's right around the corner. I still can't believe it, but it's right around the corner. So if you already have your one salsa booth booked out, you could still be booking events with the virtual booth and use those for those dates as well. And I mean, can't say no to more events, right? So definitely something that you can do. And you know, we've talked about it a lot, but I really can't stress enough, just because things are kind of going back to normal in a lot of places doesn't mean that virtual booth is completely thrown out. It's still an incredibly powerful tool to use.
Mm-hmm. It is an incredibly powerful tool. In fact, I actually had an inquiry that came through this week about from a bride actually, who didn't have like a massive budget. Sure. And she was originally looking for a kind of DIY style setup for a booth, and pitched the virtual booth, and she went for it, you know. Yeah. And actually, we didn't cost it much lower than we would do for a normal booth, but the fact that it felt like a more of a DIY style thing rather than having a whole setup there was really appealing to her.
Yeah, so no, absolutely. Yeah, and there's a bunch of ways that you can price it too. I mean, I know some booth owners out there, what they'll do is they will charge the same price, but with virtual booth you get all day, versus with the physical booth you might only get 3 or 4 hours. So even just doing little things like that can really get you the same amount of money and the same amount of profit out of doing really a very similar amount of work, just minus the setup. And so you're kind of coming out almost ahead in a lot of ways. So definitely make sure you're still taking advantage of it. We do have a couple questions that I want to answer. The first one is from Misty. Are there contracts, proposals that you can download, or are they available for preview only? I can only find some samples. So for the contracts, those are actually in the marketing materials as long as you do own a salsa booth. You just click on marketing materials inside of the web app, and you do have a sample contract. Now, depending on your area and what you want to include in your contract, if it's anything beyond what we've put in there, we still do always recommend getting it checked out with a lawyer. We're not lawyers. In every area, every state, every city, country, I could kind of go on, has different laws and policies about what will hold up. So always a good idea to get that checked out. But this sample contract is a great way to get started. It has most of what you'll need in it. And then as far as the proposals, so you can either create your own kind of generic sample proposals like what we've been talking about with Charlie. We have that holiday one that we went over, the wedding one that we went over, but you also do have all of the included sample events. And so, for example, for the holiday party, you could always click on this sample event right here, and you could click on configure event, go into event proposals, and just enable the proposal that way. And basically what that's going to do for you is it's going to create essentially a proposal for you. And I'm actually going to do it here just so you guys can see how easy this is. Obviously, I'm not going to customize the booking text or the call to action. That is something that you could do and add whatever you want there. Same thing with the backdrop. I'll just select, a random one. I hit purchase. Well, you can purchase it as well, but I'm just going to select a random one there. And then if I click on proposal, or I click on copy link up here, that sample event is now turned into a proposal. So you could even just send this link out to your clients. Obviously, you'd want to make sure you go in and, change the company info so that it's not us and that it represents you. But for the most part, it takes very little change to actually use these sample events for your own kind of generic proposal. And that's really the thing. When you're on this trial, make sure you're doing those little things, because it takes very little effort, but it could really lead to not just 1, 2, maybe even 3 events just by showing this stuff off. So really great, really great question.
Yeah. And I also want to say as well, I mean, we talked about, sending out proposals when you have a lead come to you, but actually you can send out these proposals to, planners that you want to work with, you want to work with. You don't have to wait for someone to inquire with you to send them a proposal. These can already be done for you to send out actively to people that you want booking with you. Yeah. So it's a really good way of showcasing that, especially at the moment. I mean, we most of the time you kind of want to meet with planners and stuff, but again, at the moment, it's maybe not possible in some places still.
Right.
So this is a great way of reaching out to people and showing them the booth without having the booth there to show them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We do have a couple more questions. So the second one is from Myra. Yes, the live is being recorded. So if you came in a little bit late or you have to leave a little bit earlier, that's totally fine. This whole video will be available on the same YouTube channel when we finish up. And then we have one more. I believe it's Kaylee. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on.
Callie, maybe? Callie?
Callie? Yeah, sorry, I don't have my glasses on. I really should.
I have my eyes in, so it's all right. I think it's
as long as we got one of us. Are there any new disclaimer / contracts for COVID-19? So we actually do have a link. We do have a video all about adding a COVID waiver to your contract. So I can link that video. What I'll probably do is I'll probably post it in the comments after the live stream, just because I'm going to have to go find it a little bit. But we do have a waiver that you can download that you can add into your contract in regards to COVID-19. Otherwise, you can just kind of add what you think is going to be appropriate based on your local guidelines and depending on kind of what the current guidelines and regulations in your state or city or country are. But yes, we do have one. I just have to go and find it for you. Otherwise, like I said, it is on a video in our YouTube channel here. And as far as the disclaimer is concerned, you can also add that disclaimer. We just had an update. This was what me and Kat were talking about last week. But if you go into the event interface, we have a pre-made disclaimer here for you. So if you wanted to add something regarding COVID-19 here, just to really be extra safe, you could certainly do that here as well. So very good question, though.
The other thing I wanted to just touch on really quickly in terms of making the most out of your free trial is that, get some test events in. Yeah. So unlike other Photobooth softwares, you don't actually have any watermarked photos on Salsa, right? So it means you can actually run a full event properly and see how it's going. And that could just be an event with friends and family. I mean, an event for your pets, like anything that you can create an event for. So you can set up the booth, use the software, try it out, try out all the filters, all of the masks, all that kind of stuff, and see how it works. That's what your free trial is there for. Don't wait until the last moment when you have a booking the week before to then try the software. You have a whole 30 days to really get to know the software inside and out.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you haven't signed up yet, or you just signed up and maybe you haven't really played around with the app much either, like I was kind of talking about at the very beginning of the live stream, when you log in, there's actually a checklist that'll walk you through Salsa and everything in more detail. So if you want to learn more about each specific feature and what it can do, just head over to the web app while you're on your trial, and you'll have that checklist in the lower right hand corner. And there even is a little gift for completing it. So if you haven't completed that yet and you still are on your 30-day free trial, make sure you go over to the Salsa web app, go through that checklist, get everything completed, and you'll actually get a little gift from us at the end. So,
and it's a good gift as well.
It's a good one. Yeah, it's I don't want to say we don't give bad gifts. Let's just leave it at that. It's going to be a good one. So definitely make sure you finish that checklist if you haven't. And I think that kind of covers the most important points. Did we miss anything, Charlie?
I don't think so. I mean, it really is, to get to grips with something, you have to create lots of events. And the proposals are a really great way of doing that, with a result at the end of it, something that you can actually utilize straight away to get those bookings in. Right. So that is exactly what I would be doing with my free trial if I had a free trial right now.
Yeah, no, and just, again, I can't put enough emphasis on practice. Even if it's with your dog. If you look at my Salsa web app and you see some of my events, it's just me and my dog. But I can't tell you enough how much you learn just even from doing those little things. You see, oh, this isn't exactly how I thought it was going to turn out, or I thought it was going to look slightly different. And it's better to see that at your own home while you're practicing rather than at an actual event with your client. So practice makes perfect. You have a full 30 days to do it. So find some time if you can. I know it's been a crazy busy month and an even crazier year, but try to find time to really play around with it, because it's really going to be worth it. So thank you so much, Charlie, for joining us. We'll probably have you around here in more live streams soon as well. So if you guys liked everything Charlie had to say, don't worry, she will be back. And thanks everybody for hanging out with us and watching. I really hope that out of everything we talked about, you kind of took something from it. You learned a little bit more about salsa and something new. And as always, if you have any questions at all, you're always more than welcome to reach out to our support team. Even if you are only on our trial, our support is 100% there for you. Just shoot an email over to support@photoboothsupplyco.com. And we will see you guys next week in another live stream. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you so much again to you, Charlie, for being here. And we'll see you guys next week.